is up, everybody?
Let me give you a little insight real quick, because obviously there's some people out there who don't quite understand me or don't kind of get where I'm coming from.
I don't even know why you're wasting your time with it.
No, just because
Breathe in, breathe out.
I don't just say shit for effect. Y'all might think this is just a gimmick for the show. I just do it for the show. No, I am this fucking stupid. And by stupid, I don't mean like I'm unintelligent. Like, I say crazy off-the-wall shit because I like to see people's reactions. If you want an idea, like two people I find absolutely hilarious, Jim Norton and Joe Rogan.
Right.
And they say crazy off-the-wall shit.
They really do.
And you can ask Kevin.
Uh-huh.
In the gym, I try to make everyone as most uncomfortable as they possibly can.
Yeah, he does.
And I don't mean like I'm not pointing and doing like absurd shit, but I'll come up and whisper something underneath my breath. So next time you look at that person, that's what's going through your mind. Like if you smell like curry food and you might look Indian, I will come up to you and be like, look, if that dot on his head starts blinking, shorty, I'm running. Things like that. If you find that shit offensive, stop watching the fucking show.
Oh, yeah, you know what? That's why it is the Uncut Sports Show. We are not ESPN. We are not fucking specialists or fucking professionals.
And we don't pretend to be.
And we don't want to be. You know?
And this idea, you guys, don't you want to, do you ever think you're going to interview some? I don't know. Fuck no. I don't care if I ever interview an athlete doing anything. I don't care. It's not my goal. I just do this to have fun, express my fucked up opinions, and try to make you guys laugh while we talk about sports.
And on that note, fuck all those people. But we're going to go talk about some of the things we're going to cover today. It's going to be boxing, MMA, and a little bit NBA.
Pretty much fighting. So all you people who had to watch last week's show for 30 seconds of MMA, this is mainly fighting, so this show's for you.
Yeah, it's for boxing too, and we're going to start it out with boxing because there's three figures in boxing we're going to talk about.
Kevin, after watching the fight last night, is putting on the gloves and starting to train, because Kevin's only 48, so fuck it. If Bernard Hopkins... Okay, Kevin's only 52. If Bernard Hopkins can do it at 46... he can do it at 50.
Yeah, and when on that note, I'm going to tell you guys, if any of you guys didn't have the opportunity to see Bernard Hopkins fight for light heavyweight championship of the world last night, that shit was a fucking clinic on how to box. I know George would have been very bored, but...
No, I watched the highlights. It looked entertaining.
It was. He beat Pascal in Canada. It was an impressive win. Bernard Hopkins, at 46 years old, became the oldest person to hold a championship belt, and surpassing George Foreman's record of, I guess he was 45 years old when he won a belt from Michael Moore. Anyway, that's old as shit. I can't imagine at my age getting in the ring and fighting a fucking world champion that was built like that fucking kid.
You better.
But
listen, we're getting after this. You got road work to do. Not with that hip.
But he became the oldest champion. And you know the thing about it is impressive is you know, everybody knows about Bernard Hopkins. He will talk mad shit.
He was just talking shit about Donovan McNabb.
Come on, man. That's the kind of motherfucker we should have on the show, because we would have a blast with that guy.
We wouldn't get a word out.
We wouldn't get a word out, but we would have a blast with him. But
now, here's Mad Hops.
No. I was going to say Mad Hops to Hopkins.
And sadly, this is a society we live in today when it comes to sports. Look, I'm tired. Fuck off. When you tell me a 46-year-old athlete just basically became the best at whatever he was doing in his weight class, one thing comes to mind is, what are you taking?
Right.
And, I mean, that's my first question to you. And second is boxing that diluted, where a 46-year-old can become champion?
I could say this. Hopkins didn't take anything. I mean, you could see it and whatever. I think Hopkins, you know, like he says, Bernard Hopkins has always had a good work ethic. He trains hard and stuff like that. I mean, he's obviously got the physique of a in-shape 46-year-old, but he's just skilled. He's very fucking skilled. He knows how to cut off the ring. He knows he's got great footwork. He uses the jab, and he did all that shit, and he schooled that kid. You know, now, which brings us to what you said. The other side, the flip side of that, is it diluted? I think it's diluted. I think, you know, obviously these guys that are boxing, they're good, but now all of a sudden you get some of these people that are going over to MMA, and you're seeing, you know, there's other avenues that are available now for boxers. So, yeah, I do think it's diluted. Does that mean that that's not taking anything away from Bernard Hopkins?
I'm not taking anything.
Motherfucker's bad as shit. But
46 to do what you're doing to be 46 and to be elite at whatever you're doing is athletic-wise.
Now,
is amazing.
Speaking of diluted, or maybe not so much diluted, more delusional, I'm going to go right to Roy Jones Jr. Okay, now that's another guy that's 42, 4 years younger.
I wouldn't say he's delusional. And the reason I say that is because if you go back and
he's
you look,
going to be delusional.
well,
How about
yeah,
that?
if he keeps taking shots like that. The reason I say that is because if you the Roy Jones Jr. that everyone fell in love with is a guy that you couldn't find in the ring. Like, you
He's
couldn't get to him.
incredible, right.
You couldn't hit him. He was ducking and dodging. But what's his 3 losses in a row?
3 losses in a row. But
And
I mean,
he's
yeah.
starting to get tagged.
He's getting tagged. Like now, when I mean, and maybe I should, delusional is the wrong word, because
No, it's good.
It's good. But I mean, if
I've
you
never
think
seen anybody get knocked out like this.
he bowed.
Like, he was unconscious, bent over, and then the dude crushed.
The dude crushed him. I mean, first of all, that was kind of, the ref fucked up. I mean, that was fucking
Yeah.
dangerous. I don't know if you guys get an opportunity to see this fight. It's up on the internet, but Roy Jones Jr. fought in, Russia last night, right?
Yeah.
He fought in Russia, and
He said
he
the crowd was nuts. This was the biggest name fighter to ever go to Russia and fight besides Rocky.
Right. And he got KO'd in the 10th round. He got tagged with the straight. He got hit, then he got tagged with the straight left, and he was out. Then he got hit again, and he was out. Then he kind of went down, he slumped down, and it was obvious that he was out fucking cold. And the ref just kind of sat there and looked at him, and then let the other guy come across with the fucking right hook and hit him while he was basically unconscious. Just under that, it looked, okay, in your opinion, you seen that, what did you think? This is scary.
Yeah, because these boxers take years and years of abuse, even if it's just jabs,
Right.
pitter pats. I mean, you do that for 12 rounds for 20 years.
Yeah.
Those add up, and as you get older, I mean,
This is the thing. When you look at a guy and your skills are starting to diminish, Roy Jones Jr. had a phenomenal legacy. Can Roy Jones Jr. protect himself in the ring from a fighter like myself? Absolutely. But
Nah.
when your skills start to diminish to the point where you're going up against champions or people vying for the title,
people half your age.
yeah, then you can't protect. Then there comes a thing where you say, okay, I can't protect myself in the ring anymore, and that's
Right.
what happened last night. I just think Roy Jones Jr. before he gets hurt should just fucking hang it up. I mean, all these guys are warriors. We're going to talk about some more warriors that should probably hang it up today. Some more. We're going to talk about some more, and that's not Samoan. That's some more warriors that should possibly hang it up. But Roy Jones Jr. should probably hang it up.
Well, let's talk about one that is hanging it up. We're switching lanes into MMA.
No, we're not going to switch lanes in it, man. I'm going to have to cut you off like you do me all the time.
Okay.
'Cause we got to talk about one more boy.
Oh, well, you went out of order.
I did. I know I did. I fucked it up.
DeLaHoya.
What's up with
Oscar. He got a substance abuse problem, man. I.e., this is just me talking out of the side of my neck because this is what I do well.
Right.
I'm just. Somebody accused me of being slanderous. Fuck it. Oscar DeLaHoya has seeing more money now as a promoter than he ever has as a boxer. In
Absolutely,
my opinion, he's
right.
out in Vegas partying his ass off, and I'm just saying at these parties there might be a white powdery substance, and it ain't snowing,
Yep.
except for on the table. My guess it's either
Or
coke.
maybe he's partying so hard that he's hurt the next morning and he needs to take something to help him with the pain.
Okay, OxyContin, for instance.
That's a
big
great
one.
pain medicine. I mean, could be
Put it this way:
Percocets, Vicodin.
we don't know, and he just says everyone has problems, and he
Yeah.
checked himself in the rehab. So
Now,
you're gonna check yourself before you.
you wreck yourself.
OxyContin is bad for your health.
Because OxyContin is bad for your health.
Who knows?
Ice Cube said it the best.
We're
Anyway,
just guessing.
but the good thing is that Oscar DeLaHoya has an incredible promotion company, and he's got enough smarts to say, okay, I'm fucking partying is catching up with me. It's actually probably going to start affecting my life, and I am going to fucking check myself in the rehab.
Do you think by
Mad
chance?
props.
Do you think by chance his production company might be in trouble? Depending on the types of partying he's doing, maybe is he a gambler?
I can't see that, seeing that they just promoted fucking Burnley. They were part of the fight last night on HBO.
So that doesn't mean he's not blowing all them profits.
I don't think so. I think I think
Okay.
he's just probably out having a good time, kind of like you said, what Randy Couture is. Probably why Randy Couture is not doing that. You know
That
what I'm
we
saying?
know of.
Because the last thing Randy Couture wants to do is get AIDS and whatever else that fucked up guy said last week. Who
Right.
cares? Anyway, we're going to move on to MMA. That would be mixed martial arts. Something
Yes.
that me and George know absolutely nothing fucking about. But we're going to attempt to try to do our best at
See,
it.
I tend to disagree.
Huh?
I tend to disagree with that.
We're actually
because
pretty- we're
George
getting
and
pretty-
Kevin have gotten a lot better about MMA because
Yeah.
we tend to read a little more than we used to.
Yeah, which is...
Reading's
really
hard.
exciting.
I like pictures and videos. That's
So,
easier.
what is the MMA person we should talk about first?
I say Shogun's little brother.
Shogun's little brother would be Ninja.
Ninja Hua. First name Murilo. I'm gonna guess Murilo. Murilo.
With all that being said,
Dude, the
Ninja is an incredible, and I'm going to cut you off again.
Oh,
is an incredible, and both of the Hua brothers are incredible.
2012-1 is the record he compiled. He's 1 year older than his little brother, so it's not like a large discrepancy.
Right. But he needed the ninja outfit, and he needed to sneak up against his opponent last night and knock him out before the fight even started.
But it didn't happen because Tom Watson took out that 9-iron and beat the piss out of him.
He did fight a guy named Tom Watson. Murilo, who fought Tom Watson, and it wasn't the golfer, and he didn't hit him upside the head with a club, a 5-iron, 9-iron, any other club of his choice, but he did hit him upside the head with was it his left foot or his right foot?
He kicked him in the head at one point, and then he had, as the commentator said, a hematoma on the outside of his left knee.
I know you don't want to do this because you said you can't do good British accents, but George did a pretty damn good impression of the guy. Is this guy called The Voice? He's called The Voice.
That's his nickname. I'm trying to find his real name.
At one point during the fight, when Tom Watson was starting
Michael Chevelle. I can't pronounce. Here, I'll show it to you because I can't pronounce.
George, why are you getting me to pronounce some crazy ass?
That's his last name.
Michael Schiavello.
Dude, he's hilarious.
Michael Schiavello was the commentator at this event, and let me tell you something. That guy at one point said, Tom Watson is dissecting him and creating more openings
than an OBGYN clinic, and he's filling every hole. I was like,
could you imagine if he said that shit in the state? He's seeing more openings than an OBGYN clinic, and he is filling every hole.
Great line.
Yes.
That dude is a trip. I watch him on HDNet Fights. I actually watched him do an interview with Hulk Hogan. I'm going to tell you what, that's a thorough cat.
Oh my God, he's got to put the show on pause, man.
Ooh, yeah! Oh. He died for us because of the rapture. That's what I think.
You think what? The rapture?
Yeah.
It almost happened at that time.
He's like Jesus Christ.
He is.
Yeah, all of our sins.
We were very fucking sad to see Randy Macho Man Savage passed away, man, because we were a big fan of that guy.
And let's be serious. We all know wrestling's been staged for years, but you're bigger than wrestling when you actually made the front page of ESPN. Oh, yeah. And he did. Even though he was the bottom one on what's going on, he made it. And my hat's off to him because
you're bigger than wrestling when you're doing Slim Jim commercials. Because let me tell you something to a Slim Jim.
Wow.
I was actually going to run. George will tell you right now, I was going to say, I think we should run the Slim Jim commercial at the beginning of the show. And George goes, no, Kevin, we're not doing that. I'm like, all right, fine.
Because it's not our material.
Yeah,
I'm not getting our shit pulled off.
Anyway, back to MMA. Rest in peace, Randy Macho Man Savage.
Yeah, Tom Watson looks thorough, dude.
Yeah.
He was very impressive in that fight.
He's won like 2 or 3 British Opens. Oh, you're talking about the MMA fighter.
Yeah, I'm talking about the MMA fighter. So my question is, Hua, with a 20-12-1 record, does he get into the MMA Hall of Fame?
20 what?
20-12-1.
I don't know.
Because my biggest problem with that idea is that's a great record.
Okay, this is what I also got, and this is, because the guy's a phenomenal fighter. Both of the brothers are phenomenal fighters, but this is what you got to look at his legacy. Active though, Shogun did not exist, and you just had Ninja out there fighting. Do you think he would get as much attention or media attention because of that? Because they're brothers and they're both great MMA fighters, and they happen to be brothers, obviously they're going to get a little bit more attention.
Right. I guess.
Who are his biggest wins come against?
That's what I'm alluding to. Mm-hmm. Okay, this guy fought at 185. Okay, let's just say
middles.
Right, UFC not the strongest, but let's face it, he didn't do a whole lot of fighting in the UFC.
But in Pride, it was a good class.
Yeah, well, let's see.
It was one of the strongest classes.
See who he beat. Let's the big names that we know. He lost to Dan Henderson. Mm-hmm. He lost to Ricardo Ono. He lost to Kevin Randleman. Mm-hmm. He lost to Sergey Kartonov. Yeah, that guy. Lost to Quentin Jackson. Lost to Paulo Filo. Lost to Dennis Kane. Lost to Robbie Lawler. Lost to Benji Raddick. Who he beat? Mm-hmm. Joey Villasenor. Not that bad, but not that
great.
Joey
Villasenor's got great fucking hands, but he's not a fucking.
He doesn't have the name rec. So
most people are not going to know him.
Me looking at this overall record,
I would say no. I'm going to cut you off and say no. Okay. Because only reason is you fought some good guys, and that's not taking anything away from Ninja, because these guys are all fucking awesome, man. But the bottom line is that when it came time for you to beat a really top of the line MMA fighter in your class, you fell short, and that's that. And the guys that win those fights are the guys that are in the HOF. You know what I mean?
Right, like guys like, let's face it, Rampage Jackson going in, Dan Henderson going in,
Liddell going in,
Kevin Randleman.
Kevin Randleman kind of almost is a pioneer. Maybe he would go in. I don't know. He fought some good fights earlier in his career. He beat some pretty good people.
Yeah, I mean,
a lot of people could argue that.
Another, in my opinion, now this guy, first ballot Hall of Famer without a doubt.
Yeah.
A man who started Team Quest with Randy Couture and Dan Henderson, and who is now in a rather heated legal battle over Team Quest and all this, because Dan Henderson, from what I'm reading, doesn't really understand how patents and shit work. Even if you came up with the idea and you wrote it all down on paper, if you trademark it before I do, it's his. And that's what it sounds like. Look, I don't know. I'm just from what I'm reading.
Should I tell him the burrito shop story?
No. No one cares about fucking burrito shop. Anyway, fucking Matt Lindland fought this weekend, and
well, this is the thing. Matt Lindland has had a great MMA career.
22 wins and 9 losses.
He's another pioneer. He hasn't had a lot of losses, but it's what's happening as of late. I mean, he's had 2 really bad losses by some brutal knockouts, and then last night he fought and he got caught up in a guillotine, and man, the guy was basically, he had the guy up in the air, and the guy had him so deep in the guillotine, and he fucking went out on his feet, and basically fell to his knees and was out cold, and the ref was hitting him. He was not acknowledging anything.
Right,
he was out. And then basically once he woke up, he was still trying to fight. He just didn't know where he was, and that's like the 3rd time that Matt Lindland has had a pretty nasty loss. So at some point in time, you got to sit back and say, okay, you know what? I'm going to hurt myself. You know what I mean? And George and I got in this little debate. It's like, I said, it's these guys, you got to fucking take your hat off to them because they're fucking warriors. Some guys just have it in their mind, I'm a fucking warrior. I'm going to fight until I die. I'm going to fight. That's my passion. That's what I love doing. And then George, on the other hand, said,
dude, there's a fine line between warrior and retarded. First off, in my opinion, you have to have some little bit of retard in you to voluntarily get in the ring and fight another man. That to me is just a little bit retarded. So, and there's a point, like we've discussed, if you haven't caught the theme of the show, is once you lack the ability to defend yourself intelligently, like, you're really running a health risk.
You're pushing the fucking envelope.
And for these guys who have families, like, look, Chuck Liddell, end of his career, it looked bad. But you have to take a step back, look at your family. He's getting ready to get married. He has kids. He has businesses. Like, there's other opportunities that can keep you in the game without getting hit in the head.
Yeah.
And I just think these guys need to take that on. I mean,
you really got to look at it. The sad thing about so many athletes is they're still so young when they come to the end of their careers, but they don't know anything different. So they feel like, okay, my life is over. I can't do this. I don't know anything else. I can't do. When in reality, their life is just beginning. There's so much opportunity that awaits them, but they're too blind to see that. A lot of these guys need to fucking realize that shit.
Are they blind because that poke in the eye? I heard that shit can be really debilitating. Like weeks, months.
George?
What? No?
George, I'm not even going to allow you to do that. George?
No?
We're going to go on to Chael Sonnen. Did I say his name right?
Yeah.
Because it could be Chael, Mike Chael.
Now, here's a guy who was facing federal money laundering charges and got his license revoked to fight, and then his hearing came up, and 1 minute they were saying, you're still going to get suspended, and then that's got reversed, so it looks like he's going to be getting his license to fight back, which puts him on course to fight
Michael Bisping. Now, I want to kind of people to go to the comment board and tell me, okay, who the fuck do you think is going to win this fight? Because I'm going to tell you what, you were quick to say Bisping, and Bisping has, he's definitely got a few more weapons of choice than Sonnen, but it is funny because after Sonnen's performance against Anderson Silva, you saw a lot of people, especially people who tend to like GSP, and people that, when we said, okay, GSP versus Anderson Silva, people were quick to say, well, look what happened with Sonnen, and people were quick to build up how incredible of a fighter Sonnen is, which he is, don't get me wrong.
And by the way, he entered a guilty plea on that money laundering. Just want to throw that out there.
He did. 24
months probation and fined $10,000. Now, here's the thing. If you got fined $10,000, do you get to pay it with the money that you've been laundering, or do you have to come up with... do they seize assets when you get convicted of money laundering?
Yeah, they just lock your shit up. That's just not funny, because you go into your account, your shit, you can't get into it. So a bank representative will call you and be like, excuse me, Mr. White?
So...
or Mr. Bedford?
No.
Anyway, let's move on. But anyway, We want to know, who do you guys think will win if these two do meet? If there's no injury that fucking prevents them from getting on a collision course, and who do you guys have winning the fight between?
But
Son
here's
and
the other
Bisping?
thing: Son's last fight was August 7th of 2010. Let's face it, more than likely he will not fight. If I'm guessing, probably before that. I don't think he can even fight this August in 2011. I mean,
He's got a little bit of cage rust.
Yeah, and
cage crust. Maybe that's what we'll call it instead of ring rust. Cage crust. Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see him back on his first fight. I hope he's back. I mean, he's a guy who, for all you people out there who like guys who talk shit and sell fights, he does it better than almost anyone in the game. Because let me tell you, that dude gets under my skin, and I don't even have to fight him.
Yeah.
But before we move on,
He is the fucking George Bedford of fucking MMA. If you were a fighter, you would be the Kelsey Short.
no, I'd keep my mouth shut. Because, dude, any day
Stop.
you can get your
Stop.
card punched. No, I'm
Every
not even
time.
fucking with you. No. All my times of ever playing sports, I don't talk shit. I just don't.
You just talk shit when you're not playing sports.
Exactly. It's easy. I got nothing on the line now. But, real
Yes.
quick, on the GSP front, and I'm not even here to talk shit, so all you GSP fans, calm down. I'm not going to talk about his fucking eye poke.
Oh
or
my god,
any
you
of
get
it.
so upset. It's fucking joking. Anyway, go ahead. What?
Anyway, it looks like we're going to see this fall GSP versus DS.
Wow.
Yeah, they're in serious talks. They, being the UFC and Zuffa, are really trying to deter this Jeff Lacey Diaz boxing match.
I think right now, and you know, it's funny.
Don't
shit.
lie.
We put out a video a couple years ago. It might have been a couple years ago, or a year and a half ago. Roy Jones Jr. versus Nick Diaz.
Nick Diaz would fuck him up.
Now, it's so funny because that video is still up. People still make comments about it. But it's so funny because at this point in time now, it could be a very good boxing match.
No.
Actually, I think
Dude,
a lot of
Roy
people would
Jones
probably
is
say,
so old,
yeah,
so slow.
after seeing the last few performances by Roy Jones Jr., I think a lot of people would probably pick Nick Diaz over. It's funny how things change. It's just like we talked about the stuff with Fedor.
What's even more fun is when somebody goes back and looks at your UFC 95 video and wants to give you shit about it. Really? And then UFC 95? We're on UFC 130. If you haven't seen the progression by then, am I a little butthurt and bitter? Yeah, fine, whatever. Fucking a little tired to listen to the fucking habit.
Anyway, moving on to other sports news, the NBA. The Mavs are up 2-1 on the Thunder. The Bulls and the fucking Heat go at it tonight to see who will go up 2-1.
Just, if rewind to the last video, and what did George say? The Bulls were going to come out and win game one, and the Heat were going to win all the rest.
This head can see the future. George told me the world wasn't going to end yesterday. He knew way before any of you bitches did. And on that note, we're out of this motherfucker, man. See ya.